Reading is 381. This is actually a story. It's called The Pharaoh's Ultimate Revenge. This is 5 years old. It's a story within a story about little children at a campsite. A stranger comes along that later on you find out is a ghost. She tells him a story of how her throne was stolen by her evil twin sister. She was actually supposed to be Princess of Egypt, but was killed, and now she wants her revenge. History is about to be changed. The Pharaoh's Ultimate Revenge. The fire in the middle crackles while the entire campsite speak in low voices while heating their marshmallows. Out of nowhere, there was a heavy wind that blew the fire out and startled the children. One of the counselors went in his bag to get a lighter, but heard footsteps walking, what seemed like shadows approaching them. It was coming from the dark woods. Everybody became frightened. A figure with a black robe sat down Indian style and spoke. I just want to tell a story. The entire campsite became quiet. All the little children looked up patiently. A little boy spoke. What kind of story? Well, this is a story about deception, betrayal, and a love that was selfishly stolen away. The figure pulled out a brown bag of salt and poured it in the middle of the campsite where the wood was in flames began to appear. So I guess this is how the story begins. Across the ocean, in a faraway land, about 1,000 years ago, there was a celebration in the middle of a little town in Egypt. A bunch of beautiful gypsies were dancing seductively with different colored silks. Four guards holding a throne with a canopy coming down. Rose petals were being thrown in every direction, in every color. The soon-to-be pharaoh was waving at the people. She was probably far beyond the most beautiful woman a man could ever lay eyes on. She had long dark hair, flawless skin, green enchanting eyes, and full exotic lips. Not only was she beautiful, she was also very ambitious and intelligent. She planned to better the town, give more opportunities for the people. This was probably the most exciting moment in her life. She felt like she was becoming a woman. Out of nowhere in the crowd, an elderly woman, a fortune teller, pushed her way to the front and raised attention by the crowd and the guards. You will not be queen. Someone will take your place, and you will die. The guards had sent the lady away and the parade continued, but the poor pharaoh became frightened. What a lot of people in the little town didn't know was that she had a twin sister who was very jealous and envious of what her sister was going to become and what she wasn't. That same night, she couldn't sleep, and when she awoke, she realized the prince was not on her side of the bed. She got up confused and searched the kingdom and heard voices come from her sister's room. She overheard the conversation. Her sister and her love were having a secret an affair, and they were planning to execute her so she could take place as Pharaoh. She accidentally pushed the door open and saw both of them on the bed talking. They looked at her, grabbed her from the head to toe, and chained her to the bed. Her sister began to giggle bitterly. She grabbed a basket and opened it, pouring 12 venomous snakes on the bed, and she screamed as loud as she could, but no one heard her. The flames died out again, and the children looked up fascinated. Even the counselors were intrigued by the stranger's story. The same little boy asked the figure, "So what happened in the end?" That's exactly what I came here today. The entire campsite was confused. The figure pulled out another little brown bag and poured it in the middle of the campsite where the wood was, and suddenly the entire scenery changes. They were all at a kingdom. The figure removed the robe, revealing a beautiful woman, just like in the story. She had jewels all over, but she also had a lot of rage in her eyes. She held two daggers in her hands and pointed them at a man with a crown. Her sister interfered. "What is going on here? Who are all these people in my kingdom?" She hesitated when she saw her sister's face. "Your kingdom?" The king pulled out a sword and began to fight. He swung it, and she did a backflip in the air. Now she had him, and she threw one of the daggers right into his heart, just like he broke hers. She smiled as she approached her sister. "You know I love you." "I know you do, and so do I." They both had a deep embrace, and when she had her eyes shut, she felt something slither around her body. She opened them and saw a gigantic snake with her sister's eyes. "But you murdered me, took my name, my love, and I'll never forgive you." And with a snap of a neck, she collapsed to the ground. The scenery changed back to the campsite, and the beautiful woman got up. Everyone looked at her. She placed her daggers away. A little boy approached her and handed her a crown. I believe you dropped this. She smiled, put on the black robe, and headed in the same direction she came from. As the campers watched her walk away, her appearance just disappeared like a ghost. But by changing her story, history was rearranged.